Brought to you by Windsor Park Stud, your first choice.
Yes, hi and welcome to the all-new Off the Track. Well, nothing's really new, really. We're going to have a guest in for the next hour, but it is new that Windsor Park Stud is joining us, and we thank for them for getting on board with Off the Track throughout this season. Well, our first guest today, I would imagine if at the end of his career I was to say he was a great trainer, great bloke, and a great family man, he'd be happy with that. Graham Richardson, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
That would be a fair assumption? If you could go out, that would be it? Not necessarily in that order too?
No, family comes first.
Yeah, I would imagine so. We're going to talk about your family. In fact, as we do with all these, let's go back to the beginning, because everybody's the same. We all sit there, we can all remember how we got into racing. You were born in Matamata. Obviously, I suppose in some regards, racing was always part of the family.
Well, I was born in Morrinsville, but we shifted to Matamata when I was 6 months old, and
the first 6 months, I dare say, you don't remember.
I can't remember too well. But, no, I didn't come from a racing family at all. It was just who I hung around at school with.
So you went to school. Who were your mates at school?
Michael Gibbs, who's Jim Gibbs' oldest son. He was my best mate at school, and we sort of hung around the stables and got in a bit of trouble down there. And the influences of even Toby Aldridge, who was there, and you know, there was just a lot of racing people at school.
So what were your parents thinking? Well, I mean, what were they involved in?
My mum and dad owned Matamata real estate and state insurance in Matamata, and I don't know what they thought.
Yeah, racing. I mean, being in Matamata though, racing's part of the culture there.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I wasn't that bright at school, and I think they'd given up on me.
Is that right? How many got your sisters and brothers? Or?
I've got 2 brothers and a sister.
And any interest in them in racing? No,
none whatsoever. No.
But now that you've become a little bit successful, are they showing any interest at all? Have you got them in as owners at all, or?
No, they don't show any interest at all in the racing. But they follow. But that's as far as it goes.
All right. So you're a bit of a Robinson Crusoe in that regard.
Yes. Well, you know, but I guess you're influenced by who you hang around at school and your mates and all that.
Well, you're lucky you didn't hang around with the real bad types then. So you got involved, Jim Gibbs, and you started from there and started working with Jim. Yeah,
I started working on the weekends, and I think it was about as long ago as 1974 when I was about 12 years old, and had made my mind up then that I was going to be a horse trainer, and that was that.
Were you like a Labrador puppy? Did you have the big feet, or did you have the ambition as I did at that sort of age of becoming a jockey? I
never wanted to be a jockey till I started riding work, and silly enough, I became a hurdle jockey.
Yeah, but so you came into the stables, you'd never had a horse obviously, the family weren't involved in racing, so your first go, Jimmy Gibbs said, get on here.
I'd never ridden a horse.
Yeah.
I probably trotted up a horse when I was about 12 or 13 called Taiho.
Yeah.
It was a jumper many years ago, and then I didn't ride one until I was about 17, and I remember Jim Gibbs throwing me on this horse, and we used to ride them and lead them to the track those days from the property that I own now, and he threw me on a horse, and he jumped on another one, put a lead on the horse's bridle, and we took off and trotting up to the... I couldn't walk for a week. You learnt the hard way. Yeah.
Who are some of the guys in the stable with you at that stage? Because Jimmy's a great, as we know, with young guys coming through the industry.
Oh, we had horsemen like Laurie Kavanagh, and we had Tony Gillies there, and Paul Donovan, who was a big influence.
And Rhys Jones and Michael Coleman, they come on after, before?
Oh, they were way after me. I'm not as young as I look.
Yeah. So you started off with Jimmy. All right, you're there with Jim, and you decided you become a jockey.
Well, not straight away. I'd worked for Jim Gibbs for 2 years, and then moved to Cambridge and get more experience with Laurie Laxton, and then spent nearly a year there. Then come on to DJ O'Sullivan, and then went overseas for a while.
Okay.
But didn't make my mind up until I was later on.
Oh, okay.
25 years old.
So you've spent 3-4 years working around the stables, getting a feel for it, and then, as a lot of Kiwis do, you decide to say, let's do the OE.
Well, it wasn't much of an OE because I only went to Australia. I didn't even think further than that. But I worked.
So were you working the mines or something over there? I suppose mines weren't big at that stage. What were you doing?
Actually, I applied for a job in the mine over there, but I wasn't qualified to do anything. But I sold encyclopedias mainly.
No.
I did.
You wouldn't go too well now because everybody's digital now. It's all online.
I don't think they exist anymore.
So how'd you go selling encyclopedias?
Not bad. I didn't like knocking doors at 11 o'clock at night when the lights were on, but I was made to, and we did. And I did it for 6 or 7 months and travelled around the east coast of Australia, up and down continuously.
And you were good at it? You obviously made a living.
I was all right.
Was there money in selling encyclopedias?
Those days...
I thought that was about a rung below life insurance. You know?
Those days, I think selling one set of encyclopedias, it was a lot of money. It was about $1,800 a set, and that was 30 years ago nearly.
Yeah.
And I think my cut was about, when I stepped up the ranks, was about $250.
All right, and that set you up for a fair while.
No, I just survived on it.
So what was your main selling point about that? I mean, did you go to some families and know that they weren't... Because you buy one volume and keep paying for the next 12 months, is that how it works?
That's the one, that's the one.
And you must have gone to some people knowing that they weren't going to complete.
You know pretty well straight away, but I dearly say that it wasn't a natural at it, and I didn't like knocking doors.
Okay, so you did that for 6 months, and then you came back to New Zealand?
I actually worked for a guy called Pat Quinn, who's passed away since, and he was a very good horseman, very good trainer, and I learnt a lot of him.
Right.
And then I came back and worked for Mike Moroney.
And so you came back to New Zealand with the understanding there was a job at Mike's, or did you just come and knock on the door?
No, he I don't know if he rang me or I rang him, but there was a job there as a foreman, so that's how it started.
Oh, nice. Now, about the same time, I think, didn't you, you met up with a friend of ours? Everybody in the industries like to call him his friend. Lance, he'd like to think that, Lance O'Sullivan.
He would like to think that.
You formed an association with Lance O'Sullivan, obviously through your days with DJ and things.
Well, I'd known him years before that,
yeah.
too. We went to the same school, didn't really know each other at school, and as soon as we left, we...
Well, he'd have been in a higher class, he'll tell me.
No, he wasn't. He was in a shorter class. No, but he's a year behind me.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
A year behind you. So you came back and you lived with Lance O'Sullivan for 3 years.
Yeah, 2 years, and we had a lot of fun.
I can imagine. What I can't understand, and I mean, I can see and we know that by the way you professionally approach, and Lance is the same, in terms, the house I would imagine neat and tidy, but I want to know this. Who cooked? Who cooked? Because they tell me you can't boil an egg.
I can boil an egg. I can boil an egg. And actually, when we shifted into Lance owned a house, and it was a beautiful house, and still is, and we had a stereo, and I think 2 beds, and that was it. And nothing else. And we used to...
You'd have been the proverbial odd couple, wouldn't you?
Well, all we did, you know, was he would cook.
Yeah?
But it was just chicken every night.
He tells me takeaway was your favourite.
Yeah, curry combination fried rice.
Oh dear. And that was it?
Cream rice.
Yeah.
And I was quite anemic until I met my wife, I would say.
Yeah, they tell me. He tells me that when you got into riding, that your one way of doing wasting was to drink a lot of whiskey the night before.
No, that was to get my courage up.
He said the next day you used to throw up, lose weight, and that you'd arrive at the races that way, eh?
No, you probably wouldn't get away with that now, but I didn't go as far as throwing up.
So your career as a jockey, should I say, it was like a bud, wasn't it? Waiting to blossom.
It was limited before I even got on a horse. To be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. When I started schooling horses, I might be wrong here, but when I had my first steeplechase trial, I don't think I'd ever schooled over them. I just done the hurdles and that was it, and had no idea what I was doing.
Lance would agree with that, actually. Lance said, he said at an award ceremony somewhere, he said, I thank Graham Richardson because he showed me what not to do.
He used to come to the races early just to watch me ride. And he used to say that he'd pack my pyjamas because I'd always get carted away in the hospital, to the hospital.
The other thing, it's the ongoing joke, we all use it, is that between you and Ray Johnson you had 100 winners.
We did.
He had 99 and he was the Donald Bradman of jockeys.
Yes, he was.
And you had the one.
Yeah.
And what a one that was. And sadly, people, we haven't got footage, but because they tell me it was a ride and a half. Yenda, beautifully bred Yenda at Waipa.
It was.
Remember the day?
Oh, it was an outstanding ride.
Stuck to the rail.
I did, and then just the gaps opened, and George Simon will tell you differently, but he reckoned I was 200 wide and 200 lengths last, and it still got it one. He said one night it was the best horse he'd ever seen. But no, it was a badly bred horse and outstanding ride. Outstanding
ride, exactly. And the other thing that Lance tells me is that when you walked into the jockey's room, how many rides had you had up until that win?
I think
Lost
I had
count?
60 all up.
60 all up.
Over the fences, yeah.
And this was a flat ride?
This was a high weight.
High weight, yeah. He said they gave you a standing O when you walked into the jockey's room.
That was Lance and Norm Holland. I remember it very well.
There's another horse he tells me that you're associated with, and he's one of your more special horses because he's around you now, Tumbling Down.
Well, he's since passed on a year and a half ago. He was an amazing horse. He had I probably rode him the last 2 years of his life.
Yeah, actually, Lance said they really knew they had a horse when you ran sixth on him.
Well, he actually, he did more damage to me than most horses.
Yeah, because you fell off him.
Yeah, I flipped in a race, and he was going to run second, excuse me, to Desperino at Tierra, and I think he broke 6 or 7 ribs of mine and collapsed my lung. And
yeah, I was reading the report that you heard the nurse say you better hurry up because we don't know whether he's going to make it. And it's referring to yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I remember that. It's funny how you can hear everything they say. But no, I explained the whole thing to Lance actually, and it happened to him.
Yeah, of course.
Just after, and he knew what was coming. It's quite a painful thing.
It certainly is. Hey, listen, Tumbling Down, though, is a very special horse for you, even though, you're strapping, there you are, foreman at that stage, standing on the mound there at Ellerslie, having won the Great Northern. Well,
he was an amazing horse. He's near human as you can get, and he was taught by a particular guy to for a movie. I think it was called Wild Horses, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And he would sit down at the paddock on his behind like a human being, and if you walked like this, with your feet, he'd do exactly the same. If you tickled him on the shoulder, he'd bow. It was just an amazing horse.
They're an intelligent animal, aren't they?
He's just a terrible jumper.
He's a terrible jumper. Excellent. Great. Can I just say this about Lance? We've joked about Lance, but I would imagine he's had a fair impact on your career. I mean, he's very professional in a lot of ways, and I would imagine that's rubbed off. Or has it been the other way? Have you had the influence on him?
I'd say the latter, yeah. Certainly haven't learned anything off him, but... no, I don't know. I guess that's why we got on, because we're very similar people. Yeah,
you used to go out together, nightclubs, pubs.
We didn't do a lot of that.
I reckon you probably did. I reckon you'd have been outstanding, you two together. You'd work off well together, wouldn't you?
Well, we were pretty.
You never missed, did you?
We were always home, looking forward to work the next morning at 4:30.
Yeah, that is outstanding. Hey, listen, you're working at Mike Moroney. You ran into another very good horse at this stage too, a horse called Catering King.
Well, Hazel McMillan had him, and he was one of the nicest individuals you'd ever see.
You brought about a change in his life, though. You're walking through the paddock.
Yeah,
he chased you.
Yeah, you must have read this, did you?
No, as I say, I've looked into your life quite considerably. You had an influence on that horse significantly. He's 2 stone lighter after you went through the paddock.
He was still on his mother. I walked through Hazel's property back to Mike's, and he chased me, and he was going to have me, and he meant it. And so he's 3 months old, and Hazel gelded him that day.
It must have been a bit frightening.
It was, you could laugh about it now, but he meant business, and he was quite tough.
Good times at Mike Moroney. You were there for a fair while, and obviously you ended up in partnership with him towards the end. Yeah,
which I appreciated too, because that's how you get your name out. And I worked there for 12 years, and we saw a lot of good horses, had a lot of great times, and worked real hard, and it's the only way you succeed is by working hard. And
I mean, in some regards, a little bit difficult because it's the family, Moroney family. You had Paul there as well, obviously with the bloodstock side of things, Michael and everything, but a great infrastructure as a result.
Yeah, no, it's a good balanced way about doing things. Had everybody there and the certain places, and it worked well. Okay,
what brought about the change to say, Graham Richardson, I'm going to become Graham Richardson, trainer on my own account?
I laugh about this. There's a guy who was a very successful owner called Ash Daly many years ago. I never trained for him, but he said to me, why would you want to go out on your own when Mike's going so well and all that? I said, I'm a leader, not a follower. Mm-hmm. And I meant that, and he used to give me a hard time about it, and jokingly, but I needed to do it on my own account.
It wasn't easy though, was it, to start with?
No, it wasn't easy, and it's never easy.
All right, well...